At a basic level is really what you need in order to have a serviceable and navigable document, right? Assembling a bunch of things digitally from various sources, whether that's Excel, Word, or pictures and what have you. Where you can really take this to another level, however, is when you can incorporate external sites. And that's a choice about whether or not you want to go that route or not, whether you anticipate people viewing this on a computer that doesn't have internet, or whether would like them to be able to view it on an iPad or the phone or something like that. Adobe's incorporated some things here, like a link. Okay, so over here in Tools, okay, if we click on that, we get a little cursor, okay, and maybe, this document isn't exactly the best to demonstrate this, but if we wanted to create a button, okay, essentially we're creating a button so that when somebody clicks on it, it will take them to someplace on the web, okay? And so, let's see, let me cancel this actually, and let's do this for the first page. Okay, so to start off with, what I'm going to need is I'm going to need a place to actually send them to, right? I'm going to need a link. So I'm going to use this edit text, and I'm going to copy that link that I've provided here. Okay. Now I'm going to hit the link button and just make a button that is over top of that. Here I have a number of different options. I can make an invisible rectangle, I can make a rectangle that is visible. For the most part, when people see documents or see things written like that, they kind of understand that it is a link and something that is clickable, especially when it's in digital copy. So I will generally do an invisible rectangle. And then one of our options is to go to a web page. Next it'll say, what's the URL? Since I've copied that, I can paste it in there and say OK. Now I can see this button, and if I want to modify the shape of that button, I can do so. I can make it the entire page if I wanted to. So I've given that shape there, and as long as I'm still within these menus, I'm still going to be able to see it. Now if I go up here and choose either of these, say the pan tool, it goes away. But if you'll notice here that I can move around my document just by clicking, but as soon as I get up here, that icon changes. Okay, so I'm moving my document, and now it becomes a pointer. And on your screen you can probably see it a little bit better, but there's a little square that says W, and so now I can click on that, and it should take me to the web. Either one of these, and these options here, select and pan, those are also just basic options within Adobe Reader, not necessarily even Adobe Acrobat Pro, but that's more of the, navigation as opposed to editing. So, okay, but anytime you do want to edit or come back to it, if we hit Select Object, that stuff then pops up and is more obvious. Okay, if we wanted to edit any of it, it's easy just to right-click and go to Properties, and we can update any of these things. Okay. Actions taking us to a specific place, what it looks like, if we want to have outlines, etc. Okay. The other one that I use fairly often is a button. Okay, and in a lot of ways this functions the same way as a link. So we create a button. It has a name that we can modify, but if we click here to Properties, okay, we get another menu that's very similar. So I can change the name of this thing, and we'll call this the back button. I can now have a couple properties to choose. One is visible. Okay, obviously if I'm creating something, I might want to see it. At least in this instance, so visible would be a good option. Okay, you can do a hidden button, But I have yet to really understand why you would want to do that. Because it's not only that it hides the button from you, it also really disables any actions that it takes, because I can't find that it really works. The next one is actually the one that I would recommend, the visible but doesn't print. This is kind of what we were talking about earlier, in that if we place a button on here so that you can navigate the document digitally, but if I just want to hit print and have it shoot out of my printer, I don't want to see these buttons that are just going to be nice eye candy but not functional. Likewise, another kind of interesting choice, which is hidden but printable. I haven't really figured out why you'd want to do that, but I guess you could. So if we do visible but doesn't print, we can rotate the button some number of degrees if we would choose. Appearance. More often than not, I'm more of an icon kind of person. I use Apple devices, so I like icons and apps and things like that. So more often than not, I will not have any color to my buttons, but you could have. Also, I don't really do a border, because I'm gonna insert an icon here to kind of make things a little bit nicer looking. One of the things that I also find helpful is when it comes to text, to change this to auto. Because what that does for you is that you're able to scale your button for as big or as small as you want, and the text will update as well. If we move over to options, this is where we can get really fancy. So layout, we can do a label, icon only, and then various locations for where the label is. Because again, I'm a visual person, I tend to use the icon. And when you choose icon, the advanced button should become active. It might take a little bit for that to do so. Okay, we click advanced, and then we're able to kind of position that icon if we wanted to, so we could put it higher or lower within. Okay. Now we can come down here and choose our icon. Okay, I'm going to hit browse and go to digital portfolios and icons. Now, at first glance, when you click on here, you're like, wait a second, I have stuff there. Okay. Adobe Acrobat sometimes only likes to look for certain types of files. So these particular files, most of them are JPEGs. So if you change that to JPEG. All of these I have shamelessly ripped from Google. I just thought of a different icon that I wanted, and then I typed in, Facebook icon, and then ripped one of the pictures from there. Since we're doing a back button, I'm going to select the back logo, open that, and there it is. Say OK. Okay. So now if I wanted to maybe add some text to this, maybe I'll do a label at the bottom, and I can type in my label. This is one of those things that I will say, this is probably the most annoying part of doing any type of digital portfolio where you incorporate buttons instead of relying on the bookmarks, is that really once somebody navigates to a particular document, you don't want to leave them stranded. And so you want to give them some way in order to go back. And because this isn't the web and we can just hit our back button, we have to create a back button. And so I will normally, copy paste to any number of my pages, so that then I can send them back to whichever I want. So normally that's the cover sheet, because I will include buttons like this, or for Facebook and whatnot. I will include those on the cover sheet, because that way it's kind of the centrally located kind of navigating way. Okay. So even though it's nice and pretty, I'm not done yet. I have to tell it to do something. Okay? Because otherwise we have a nice pretty picture but nothing to do. And just like when we did with our link, we have different options. And here we have a lot of different options. So we could, just like with the link button, open a web link. Or we could play a sound. Okay? And anytime that we say we want it to do a particular thing, like play media, play a sound, you will link it to that item, and it will become part of your portfolio. Okay, so again, those are those things that kind of make your file size grow, but it might be totally worth it. Okay, And so in this instance, what I'm really looking to do is to navigate to another page. And so I'm going to say go to a page view. Add that. Okay, and so now it's telling me, just like with a bookmark, where do you want this button to take you? And so let's say that I wanted to go to this page. Say this would be my cover sheet. And again, before I set that link, I want to make sure the view is the way that I like it. And in this instance, I do like this, so I will set my link. Okay. So let's see if this has worked. What's nice is that you're able to take this, move it, I usually place it in the upper left corner, and then you can copy it, go to another page, paste it, and then just drag it. And it imports and remembers all of the same settings. The last thing that I want to mention, we can import multimedia into this. So if I wanted to, I could import a video, and I could go so far as to make that video viewable here. So if we go to Insert Video, I can hit Browse, and again, in your file folders, you should have one in Sounds and Video, and I can add different video files here. But we can open that, say OK. It is embedding this into the document again, so it adds memory, but if we click on it, then it will play within that. So you don't need any external connections, you don't need to connect to YouTube or anything like that, so the content is part of this. If we look at my evaluation from last year, something else that I've added is an instruction sheet. Because not everyone's going to come to this with the same expectation, I created this sheet utilizing this screenshot that I used another program called Snagit to create, to kind of give people an idea and walk them through how to do it. And then these give you an idea of some of the different icons that I found, and just whatever I thought was interesting and fun, I grabbed them off the web and turned them into that. So if we go to our bookmarks, we can go to the CV, and it takes me to the first page of that. My teaching cover sheet, this is where I've used some of those icons. So with each class, if I want to see drawing participation and see the syllabus, I can click on that and go there. Okay, I can look and see what I want to see, and then I can click back and it takes me back to the cover page. Okay. So all of these have different options that you can kind of see and look at, and some of them will have, things like movies attached with them that will take you to YouTube or Google Pics and that kind of thing. And especially this is something that I found incredibly helpful in that especially when it's come to pictures. If I don't want to take the time to do a photo collage, I can just send them to the Google Pics link. And so we can see that in my creative activity. And so Mad Woman, for example, if I click on that, that should take me to Google Documents. And I'm able to then see all the different pictures from that. And I haven't spent any additional time doing layouts for it. This is just an online storage that I have for shows at KSU, and so it does a nice job of presenting those, and if there's anything that a person is interested in seeing more closely, they can click on any of these and view those. But it's about maximizing kind of my time. The information is here. If someone is curious, they can certainly take a look at it more thoroughly.